Hi, it's Michael and Anthony here presenting Small Business Banter. A healthy micro and small business sector means a successful economy and a more vibrant society. Small Business Banter is about helping regional business owners better prepare for the current challenges, but also for the next stage of business success. I'm Michael Kerr, founder of Kerr Capital, advisors to business owners. Each week, with Anthony Turner from the Small Business Mentoring Service, we'll interview a different small business expert or a fellow business owner and get them to share their best tips and insights for you, the listeners. Small Business Banter is brought to you from the studios of 104.7 Gippsland FM and is heard across Australia on the Community Radio Network. Thanks also to our supporters, Kerr Capital and the Small Business Mentoring Service. So welcome to another edition of Small Business Banter. On today's episode, great to have in Theo Williams. Theo is the founder, director and CEO of Localised. And Localised, I'm going to let him tell you more specifically about it, what it does. But Localised is a local business discovery tool, and it helps owners to buy from, sell to and partner with other owners. So it's very much aligned with what we're all about at Small Business Banter. He works with government and locally focused corporates. That's an interesting one we're going to pursue as well, to build and activate business owner communities and to build resilience and grow micro-economies. So, Theo, welcome in today.
Thank you.
And
Hi, Michael.
Welcome also in Anthony Turner from the Small Business Mentoring Service.
Hi, everybody again.
So, Theo, interesting business. We want to hear all about it. Can you give us a couple of minutes on your journey to date as a founder of a startup, and also, what you're aiming to achieve with Localised?
Sure thing, Michael. But firstly, thanks very much for having me. This is my kind of first radio and podcast. Long-time listener, first-time caller. So great to be here with you, and really excited that this is airing in podcast format and in Gippsland as well. So a little bit about me and I guess how this all kind of came about. I mean, firstly, I'm the son of an educator. I'm a first-time business owner, but I'm a lifelong learner. I have a career to date building digital content, designing and implementing digital products like platforms like Localised and Gippsland Business Connect, and building online communities for both the kind of university sector and for industry as well. And I started Localised with a business partner about 6 years ago. A lot of failings, a lot of stuff-ups, a lot of learnings along the way. The first 2 years, we didn't know what we were doing. But the last 4 years, we've kind of found our product market fit and started to grow Localised. But it was initially a side hustle, as they call in startup world. It was a product that we were working on outside of our day jobs. As before Localised became my mission, I was helping teams and people build software and build business processes in a more agile way so that they could take on more feedback and adapt to market demands, and ultimately to kind of improve how customers used digital products. So that's kind of where I've come from. The last 4 years have been super educational for me. I've learned so much. As mentioned, a first-time business owner. I didn't know what it was like in the business world. I was, always an employee. And so it's been an incredible journey for me personally and professionally to understand what makes business tick.
Yeah, excellent. Look, and the journey, into your first business, whether it's a startup or or buying an established business, or establishing something more traditional. It's we love that. We love hearing about that. So you came to it with significant experience as a digital, tech person, building platforms. What's the core business problem that you're trying to solve, or opportunity that you're trying to create for regional businesses? I think it is particularly regional businesses.
Yeah, that's definitely where it all kind of started, Michael. I moved from a shoebox in North Melbourne to a beautiful country town called Kyneton in central Victoria. And my then business partner, James, he moved to Geelong, which I don't know if is that regional. It's pretty city-like.
We call it regional.
We call it regional, technically. And when we both moved, we both had a kid. We both started this business and we moved to, the regions, all pretty much in the same year. And what we saw where there was a problem was that we struggled to build local professional connections, with peers, mentors, potential customers, potential partners, people that we could learn from. We had some success, but not great success through kind of traditional business networking. But that kind of, for a digital native, wasn't hitting the mark. And so we thought that we could just build something. We also saw massive potential for businesses to do more local business. Everyone's kind of got this sell to Melbourne, sell global mindset, but most small businesses done within, a car drive. And so we saw that we could have a really positive impact on the communities that we were moving to.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make is, a lot of regional businesses seem to have this city-centric focus for their marketing and everything else to try and bring people in. What did you find as some of the challenges that you had to overcome to, create those localized networks?
Yeah, that's a good question, Anthony. I mean, there's so many challenges. It's hard to kind of point out a few of them, but I'll have a crack. So I think some of the first ones were the challenge around, like, if it ain't broke, why fix it kind of mentality in the regions, like we do our business networking this way. And so it was really trying to educate small business owners that, you can use digital to build a professional network and promote yourself locally. It's not just about, your website targeting Melbourne or New York, but there is opportunity in your backyard if you look for it. That was the main challenge was, I guess, people's perceptions of digital and small business. Lots of technical challenges as well, some that we made ourselves, like making mistakes, building platforms. But also, there's a digital capability challenge there, just because small business owners in the regions didn't, and I use that word quite specifically, didn't really see the value of digital to find a local market. That is changing, but there's still a lot to learn on, how to use digital, not just for marketing and sales, but how to improve operations in a small business as well.
I think in my experience of mentoring across the country is that often digital is probably people in the regions are more reticent about digital. One, lack of understanding, but also there's a lot of concerns around bandwidth and abilities to actually get onto digital and make those viable marketing platforms. I guess also too, often don't see it as a marketing tool; they see it as an interruption to their day-to-day business. So interested in your comments around those sorts of challenges.
So Anthony, some of that distraction versus opportunity for small business, I think that has shifted in the last couple of years, especially in the year 2020, where you can't go out and shake hands in Victoria. It's become really prominent that small businesses are recognizing that, when they can't go out and shake those hands, they still need to kind of go out and build relationships, whether it's to find a service provider or to find customers or to find someone to help their business. We have to be able to do it from our our home offices. So yeah, I'm probably more interested in your take on it, Anthony, having spoken to lots of small business owners as a mentor, as opposed to someone who's trying to convince small business owners that they can and they should use digital. And I also recognize, and some of the stuff that we get from feedback from businesses, but also from my government partners, is they just don't really know where to start. And so, like, how do you implement something if you don't really know what your outcomes are or you want them to be? And then once you know kind of like what you want your marketing or your process improvement outcomes are going to be, how do you find an expert? How do you go from, all right, I reckon I could put $5,000 into that next year, and then implementing it? Like, when it comes to digital, it's all in the execution. Like, probably same in the business world as well. I have an idea.
Yeah, I think one. Look, and by the way, we are chatting with Theo Williams today on Small Business Banter. Theo is the founder, director, and CEO of Localised. It's one of the. I think there's been a separation of business operations, day-to-day business, and digital for a while, where they're seen as separate things. The reality is, digital is a part of. It's an enabling technology. It's also it's a part of your marketing mix. And we've had a few discussions with previous guests on Small Business Banter about, it's not a beast. It's not separate to increasingly it's a part of what you're going to be able to do. So yeah, it's getting owners to invest in the time and energy to think about their business as a whole. Where are their problems? Where are the opportunities? And how does digital fit in? As does how would a subscription to Xero, or how might getting some advice work for them? I think having direction is critical. For Localised, what I'm intrigued about is you talk in the intro about growing resilience and local micro-economies. And so the regions are growing in number. Like it seems to be a pretty clear trend. So we're going to have more people, more consumers, more businesses. So from a point of view of building a localized economy, are there kinds of businesses that suit Localised very, very well, and others that do need to think about Melbourne or Sydney or New York?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. There's definitely more opportunity for some industries or some segments of small business than others, but we all need other businesses. And just to come back to that digital point, like, why aren't small business owners using digital more? I mean, the stats from 2019 are that less than 64% of small businesses have a website, and most of those who don't have a website want to build one. But the really important stat is that 70 to 80% of people research a company before visiting it or making a purchase, and that's the case for consumer businesses as well as B2B. But when it comes to, I guess, the types of businesses that should be digitizing themselves, I would say it's all businesses, whether they're selling dim sims and they want people in their small town to kind of know that they've got a new range of dim sims, to the large accounting firm that's got 3 offices across regional Victoria. They all stand to benefit from having their brand out there more. It could be Mermaids Fish and Chips, or it could be Westcar Harvey. They need their target market to know about them.
So this is just it's a bit of a mindset thing, that to think about the fact that their local consumers are consuming online digital stuff all the time, so that it's an easier way to get their attention, perhaps where they might have relied on a sign out the front of the dim sim shop. Or is that a fair call, that just with the weight of time people are spending online, you're gonna get their eyeballs easier and quicker?
Yep, definitely. Yeah, I mean, you still need that sign on the street, but you also need that sign in TikTok, in Facebook, or wherever the small businesses market is.
Yeah, excellent. All right, look, wanted to talk a little bit about Localised, where it's at now. You mentioned Gippsland. You've been successful in implementing Gippsland. How did that come about? Who was the buyer? Who were the users of the system there? Just to put the platform Localised into some perspective.
Yeah, good. It's a good point from perspective, because that was a critical moment as I built this business. Was when we tendered for and secured a contract with Latrobe Valley Authority. There was a lot of transformative, impactful stuff happening in Gippsland in 2018 with the shut of Hazelwood and the sawmill. And there was significant, I guess, government attention on trying to support businesses through that period, helping them adjust business models, keep their staff. And so it was at that point that we kind of got that digital platform, or the social network for business owners, kind of heading in the right direction. And that's the latest version of the platform was what we built for Gippsland. And I've been able to kind of clone that model and sell it across Australia. But what started really well in Gippsland was, I guess, an all-in approach at least two levels of government, both the awesome councils, the 6 councils across Gippsland, and that state agency. They all wanted to do something to create more visibility of who are the suppliers, who are the buyers, what are the opportunities, how to increase visibility of upskilling stuff like, training events or networking events, or encouraging business owners to be more entrepreneurial as they needed to change because of the environment.
Yeah, the environment there was very much forcing people to rethink. Anthony, I know that you were just about to chip in with a question.
Yeah, I'm just interested about the concept of what it is that, and just to try and make it a little bit clearer for our listeners, is that my understanding of it is sort of like a combination platform where it's got a business directory of local businesses. It's also got a whole series of events and also connections and opportunities to networks and everything. Theo, is that sort of a reasonable summation of what it actually looks like and what it feels like, and how do people get involved?
Thanks for the prompt there, Anthony. I'll try not to flog the product too much, but really, I mean, it is designed to be, and I really hate this term, a one-stop shop. But it's like we saw local business as a vertical, and the things that were important to us as business owners, and from what the feedback that we were getting from the businesses that were using our previous platforms, was that there's a lot of noise, especially in digital. Like they're getting 10 emails every morning telling them about business matters. It could be about an upcoming training event or networking opportunity or procurement or information about how to improve their accounting software. And so we wanted to kind of decrease that noise by creating something that was dedicated just to business owners, creating a digital network for business owners that only had information that was relevant to their marketing, sales, and operations. And so whilst the kind of the core feature set really is around a directory and events, what we're noticing across the 38 platforms that we run across Australia is that the content marketing tools are really valuable for a small business. Directories don't work. Google killed directories 5 years ago. But the way that we've designed ours is that it's 100% open, so it helps with businesses' search engine optimization and their discoverability through Google. But really, it's a channel for business owners to promote themselves, their people, their products, their services to other business owners, as well as creating a space for them to be able to kind of say, I need something. I need someone to help me with a risk audit, or someone to do some fencing. And there will always be someone local. Local subjective. So, local could be your small town, or it could be your valley, or it could be the state. So local is subjective, but there will always be someone local who can do it. And if you can sit down and have a coffee or a beer with them, you're going to get better outcomes. They're going to better understand your problem and deliver a better service.
Yeah, I think it leads to this idea of local being more resilient, because where you can, you spend your money locally, and it doesn't happen naturally. You have to, like anything, you have to work at that. We have an interview coming up two interviews coming up on those very same themes about, building resilience by maximising the amount of money that can be spent locally. There's a couple of terms you used in there. I think through the eyes and of someone who isn't native digital, that is, didn't grow up with it, is hearing all about why they should be digital, why they should be online, why they should do social media. So what are a couple of steps? So let's just think about some business owners listening in going, I know I need to do something. What are the sorts of things that aren't so scary that you would give as advice to owners about going digital, in its grandest form?
Yeah, I guess like any business problem, you got to understand, or you got to plan for what you want to achieve. And so if you want to save money or save time, and saving time is critical for every business owner, because there's one thing there's not enough of is time. So it's really about, do you want to digitize some of your business processes so that you can have more time to spend coaching staff or finding new customers?
So that could be putting in a system, right, to handle incoming orders or email inquiries. Is that
exactly like logistics or fulfillment, or it could be tracking your customers better with a customer relationship management or CRM tool.
So harvesting your, you gather more email addresses and phone numbers of your customers.
You know more about them, so you can better service them and sell more product or more services.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the internally focused digitization of business stuff. And we all need to do that. It's always good practice to kind of talk to an expert who knows how a business can be improved internally. And before I kind of move to the kind of marketing and sales and external stuff, talking to an expert, they want to help you. They like, you can find a local service provider who can help you implement a CRM or help you implement some functionality on your site to save you time in fulfilling an order.
And yet this is one of the functions you promote, with the directory, which I see in terms of, we've all got day-to-day challenges. List your job, your needs on something like that directory, and you'd be amazed at how many people locally, putting aside the issues of confidentiality, but there are people around, increasingly people around, who can help you solve problems. You've just got to be visible and ask, don't you?
That's right. And those people will have a free conversation with you, and you will learn a lot. When I say those people, those service providers, those local experts, they will have a half an hour conversation with you, probably buy you a coffee, because they want to know more about your business, because they want to sell to you. And that's okay. We're all in business for a reason.
Yeah. So I think you're just about to, and we are coming up to the end. So I think it would be a good note to finish on with your simple, more simple examples to follow for using digital to market and get more sales through more customers. I think that's where we're going to head with that one.
Yeah, so that external focus. I mean, we all need customers. We all need to generate revenue. Like, we're not in business if we're not making money, which is very blunt, but also it means that we can have the impact if we're making the money. So when it comes to marketing and sales, you can digitize a lot of things. And again, that can be quite scary. You don't know how much it's going to cost. You don't know how much time it's going to take to implement something and then maintain it. Again, I'd say talk to an expert. There'll be someone in Gippsland, or there'll be someone local in whatever region of Australia that you live in, that can help you and want to help you. So it could be making a tweak to your website. It could be building your first website. It could be social media. It could be, e-commerce. But before thinking about digital as one big scary thing, I'd really be clear about what you want to achieve. Like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to increase your sales by 20%? Are you trying to get more visibility of procurements? So whatever that objective is, then break it down into, okay, what are the steps to get there? and talk to an expert on the tools, the digital tools that you can use for each of those steps.
Yeah, look, I really like that. I think one of the really outstanding features of what you're doing is the directory of services and providers, which is look local to find experts across all sorts of business challenges, and so it's also an opportunity, for each and every service provider to really highlight what they do and how they do it. As you say, offer that free, have a coffee, have nothing like when you can, and we've got a little bit more liberty outside of Melbourne to do those sorts of things. So, Theo, look, thank you very much for your time today. We'd probably love to chat again in 6 months or so with how you're going with Localised. We love what you stand for, what you're doing in terms of providing resilience to local communities and local economies, and small businesses are absolutely at the center of that. They provide jobs, they enable people to stay and live in regions and do things more on their own terms. We didn't quite get to locally focused corporates, but that's certainly something we'd like to chat to you more about at another time, because they're a part of the mix as well. So Theo Williams from Localised, thank you very much for your time again. We wish you well.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Michael and Anthony. It was great.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
So that's all for today's episode of Small Business Banter. Anthony and I continue to be inspired by bringing you small business experts and other small business owners and hearing their stories. For any of the links, resources or information we've talked about on the show today, or to contact Anthony or myself, please head over to smallbusinessbanter.com, or you can find us on both Facebook and Instagram. Anthony and I would love you to tune in at the same time next week for another episode of Small Business Banter.